Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another live stream. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and let's get it cracking. All right, so shout out to everybody who is here. Shout out to everybody who is still here. I sincerely apologize, man. I am late as hell. You know what I'm saying? Late as hell. So I appreciate y'all for still rocking with me, man. I know we got a bunch of people unsubscribing and all that. You know what I'm saying? Thumbs down the video. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. It's all good, man. It's all good. I appreciate y'all. If you guys can hear me okay and everything looks good on the screen, please give me a thumbs up or a radiation emoji in the chat. If you guys cannot hear me or things are looking bad, then please give me a thumbs down or angry face. While you guys are doing that, I'm going to shout out everybody who's in the building early, all right? Shout out to AB Promotions. Shout out to John Guillory. Shout out to my man John Guillory for funding the organization and unsubscribing.
How do you think that we fund this organization, huh? We're not exactly the March of Dimes.
Shout out to you, bro. Appreciate it. Shout out to Carlton Way. Shout out to the specialist. Shout out to my man Betterworth. Make sure y'all show DeAndre some love, enforcing those likes. Throw them like enforcers in the chat. Shout out to my man Cameron. What's good with it? Shout out to Brooklyn Queen, enforcing them likes. Shout out to John. This is warning number 2. Unsubscribing again.
How do you think that we fund this organization, huh? We're not exactly the March of Dimes.
I'm going to subscribe just to unsubscribe again. Shout out to you, bro. Oh, shout out to Brooklyn Queen. Brooklyn Queen mad now. Unsubscribing, and she hit the button. Shout out to Brooklyn Queen for hitting the button.
How do you think that we fund this organization, huh? We're not exactly the March of Dimes.
Shout out to Brooklyn Queen. Shout out to my man DJ Omo. Shout out to Katsy. Shout out to Volvo 2 Love. Shout out to Crew Reality. Shout out to my man AB Promotions. Man, everybody about to be going unsubscribing again.
How do you think that we fund this organization, huh? We're not exactly the March of Dimes.
I'm not going to sit in here and listen to this plebiscite babbling.
Talentless, scandalous, plebiscite babbling.
Shout out to you, bro. Shout out to the specialist. And that's it. That's everybody that's in here. All right, that's what's good, man. Shout out to y'all. It's good to see y'all. So this is what we about to do. We about to check this out, man. We about to look at these new developments that have occurred. One of the initial developments that have occurred is some rumblings in the RFK circle. RFK speculation of him dropping out, endorsing Trump, causing some statistical issues with the polls. All right, we're going to take a look at this. Now, I seen y'all have made some comments. Looks like there's been some updates since I looked at this last. So let me know. We might have to do some in-stream live updating, you know what I'm saying, and check out some things. And then what we're going to do is we are going to take a look at the Triple H, the Harris Housing Hustle. We're going to look at the Triple H and see who actually benefits from it and ask the magic question, is this enough to get you off of the couch? Is it enough to get you off of the couch? All right. So we're going to take a look at this article right here. All right. How RFK dropping out would affect Trump versus Harris in battleground states. Now, before we get into this, my question for you guys is, how do you all feel that RFK dropping out of the race would affect Kamala versus Trump? Let me know what you guys think. Shout out to my man, the Geek Surgeon. Make sure y'all show the Geek Surgeon some love with the political SBE, funding the organization.
How do you think that we fund this organization, huh? We're not exactly the March of Dimes.
Definitely appreciate you, bro. Now, shout out to DeAndre. DeAndre says, I'm hearing RFK wants to step on the DNC and announce Friday. You already, that's going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting. You know what I'm saying? So let's see what they're talking about here. So now here it says, Donald Trump would perform better against Kamala Harris in November's presidential election in the key swing states of Michigan, Nevada, and North Carolina if these races involved multiple candidates rather than simply the two frontrunners, according to an analysis of recent polling by Race to the WH. All right. In Nevada and North Carolina, the difference was enough to flip the states from blue to red. The inclusion of third-party candidates did help Trump somewhat in Arizona, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, though not enough to flip any of those states. By some margin, the most important third-party candidate is independent Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has 4.9% support, according to the most recent analysis of recent polls by election website 538. Other third-party candidates include the Green Party's Jill Stein, Libertarian Party's Chase Oliver, and Cornel West of the Justice for All Party, though none of these are consistently polling about 1%. Now, we gotta go in on we gotta go in on your boy Cornel West. What a waste! What a waste! Would you guys agree? What a waste! You know what I'm saying? Shout out to John. John says, correction to my previous statement, RFK saying he may officially drop out by the end of the week. And how many people think he'll endorse Trump if he drops out by the end of the week? If you guys think he'll endorse Trump dropping out by the end of the week, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't think that he'll endorse Trump, then give me a thumbs down. Cassie says it will boost Trump. A lot of disaffected Republicans were going with RFK because of his C-19 accountability stance. Yeah, facts. I agree 100%. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to AW1. What's good with it, bro? So now here it says on Tuesday, former President Trump said during an interview with CNN that he would be open to Kennedy serving in his administration if the independent candidate dropped out of the race and endorsed him. It came after Nicole Shanahan, Kennedy's running mate, suggested the pair could walk away right now and join forces with Trump to prevent Kamala Harris from winning in November. So everybody's making the chess moves, like AB Promotion said. The people are making chess moves. They're making the chess moves. Now, let me ask you guys this question. What do you think about these strategies? Are these good strategies? Are these strategies that could work? Or are these strategies bad strategies and none of this stuff is feasible? Let me know what you guys think. Following Trump's remarks, the odds of Harris being elected in November took a hit with leading bookmakers between Tuesday and Wednesday. Now, I had a live stream scheduled. You guys know I've been kind of trying to get as much of this stuff done as I can. I didn't get a chance to do it, but we were going to talk about the changes in the polling numbers. But now, you know what I'm saying, it's kind of too late, and all of the changes have occurred already. You know what I'm saying? So now here says Newsweek reached out to Kennedy, Harris, and Trump's presidential campaigns via email for comment on Wednesday. Newsweek has provided below the impact of Kennedy's dropping out on 7 key swing states based on the race to the White House analysis. All right. So we're going to take a look at this and see how accurate this is. Arizona. In Arizona, race to the White House calculated that Harris leads Trump by 0.5 points in a head-to-head with 47.3% of the vote against 46.8% of the vote. All right. Including third-party candidates, increased Harris's lead to 0.9 points with 44.9% of the vote against 44% for Trump and 5.6% for Kennedy. Georgia. Okay. Race to the White House found Trump had a 1.8 lead over Harris in Georgia with 48.7% of the vote against 46.9% of the vote for the Democratic candidate. When third-party candidates were added, this lead fell slightly to 1.7 points, with Trump at 46.4% and Harris at 46.9% and Kennedy at 4%. Michigan. According to the analysis, Harris leads Trump by 2.9 points in Michigan. The current vice president has 49% compared to 46.1% for her Republican rival. Including third-party candidates cuts this lead 1.8 points, with Harris at 45.1% against a 43.3% for Trump and 5.6% for Kennedy. Nevada. In Nevada, the analysis shows Harris outpolling Trump by 0.4 points, with 46.6% of the vote against his 46.2%. When third-party candidates were included, Trump led with 44.6% ahead of Harris with 43.8% and Kennedy with 4.9%. Okay. Shout out to everybody that's watching. I appreciate you guys. If you guys haven't smashed that like button yet, please take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys haven't hit that bell, please take a moment, hit that bell. Also, please share the stream to your social media. And you guys know, if you watch it on the replay, make sure you watch it all the way through to the end. It'll take you right into the next content. All right. North Carolina. All right. Harris leads Trump in a straight contest by 47.4% against 47.2%, an average of 0.2 points, according to Race to the White House. Including third-party candidates pushed Trump into the lead with 45.7% of the vote, 0.7 points ahead of Harris, who had 45%, followed by Kennedy, who had 3.4%. In Pennsylvania, Harris had a 1% lead over Trump with a 48.2% of the vote against 47.2% in a straight fight, according to the model. This lead increased to 1.4 points when third-party candidates were included, putting Harris at 45.8%, Trump at 47.2%, and Kennedy at 4.4%. Wisconsin, Race to the White House analysis gave Harris a lead of 2.1 points in a straight fight with Trump, with 48.8% of the vote against 46.7%. This lead increased slightly to 2.9 points with the inclusion of third-party candidates, which puts Harris, hold on real quick, at 46.7%, Trump at 43.8%, and Kennedy at 4.8%. Okay? So, yeah, there's definitely going to be some changes. Now, what's interesting about it is that this only discusses the battleground states, right? How many people have heard what's going on with the markets? With the websites like Polymarket? If you guys have heard about what's going on with the websites like Polymarket, give me a thumbs up. If you guys haven't, then give me a thumbs down. Give me 1 second, y'all. Give me 1 second. Do something here real quick. Download. Let's see. So you guys remember when we were looking at these for the bets? We're going to take a look at what this did to the betting odds. Okay? We're going to take a look at what this did to the betting odds. Because believe it or not, it actually changed them. But it didn't change them in the way that it would seem like it would have, according to that Newsweek article. Here's an article from Crypto Slate. Okay. Here is an article from Crypto Slate. Look what it says. Harris loses lead on Polymarket as odds RFK Jr. will endorse Trump jump to 38%. Harris lost her lead on Polymarket. Now, here's my question for you guys. How do you all think that this is going to translate into the polling data? So, see, what we're starting to see now is the initial hype, right? Remember, we talked about this. The initial hype that occurred when Kamala Harris was first introduced, that caused some volatility. Now that things have started to normalize, look where we are. We're going right back into the statistical categories and looking at some of the same statistical constraints that we were talking about before this swap was made. So all of the volatility has settled for the most part. That could be problematic for Kamala Harris. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says Harris loses lead on Polymarket as odds RFK Jr. will endorse Trump by 38%. Trump now leads Harris 52% to 47% on crypto native prediction market Polymarket. Okay. Donald Trump has retaken a lead over Kamala Harris on the crypto prediction market Polymarket, with odds now standing at 52% for Trump compared to 47% for Harris. All right. Harris has lost what was a 10-point lead on Trump before this week's DNC. Now, let me ask you guys this. Shout out to Tatum Man. What's good with it, bro? Let me ask you guys this. What do you all think caused this? Is it solely RFK, or are there other factors? Shout out to DJ Elmo. DJ Elmo said RFK framed a black man for deletion of a wealthy white female who was a family friend in the 1970s. You know what's interesting? Nobody talks about that. And people should. Matter of fact, when Math Hoffa had him on there, Math Hoffa should have interviewed him about that. If y'all think that Math Hoffa should have interviewed him about that, give me a thumbs up. If y'all don't, then give me a thumbs down. Shout out to DeAndre. DeAndre said people aren't happy about that economic rollout. I believe so. Yeah, I think you're onto something, bro. Literally nobody's happy about her economic rollouts. No one's happy about it. They don't make any sense. The economic rollouts. You know what I'm saying? They're all just junk. You know what I'm saying? And the people who are supporting Kamala Harris are not really doing due diligence as far as discussing what's wrong with these policies. You know what I'm saying? And this is what people are talking about with the honeymoon period. If you guys agree with Katsy, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. Katsy says, no, the newness wore off. They are no longer excited. You always get a boost when you jump into a race. I agree. Shout out to Michael R. Yeah. Her economic team is all BlackRock executives. Yeah. Yeah. Facts. Not to mention her policies are not very feasible. They're not very well explained. It doesn't seem like they're very well thought out. You know what I'm saying? Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to everybody watching. We got 28 people watching and we got 19 likes. If everybody could bang on that like button and get us to 40, that'd be wonderful. So now here it says the shift comes amid a notable increase in the likelihood of RFK endorsing Trump. All right. So this is what they believe that this has a lot to do with it. This shift comes amid a notable increase in the likelihood of RFK endorsing Trump, as his chances of doing so this month went from 14 to 46% following comments made by his running mate, Nicole Shanahan, on the Impact Theory podcast. The podcast revealed considerations of dropping out to endorse Trump, which significantly influenced the prediction market's perception. All right. So I'm going to have to start checking this Impact Theory podcast out. How many people have ever watched this Impact Theory podcast? If you guys have watched the Impact Theory podcast, give me a thumbs up. If you guys haven't, then give me a thumbs down. Shout out to DeAndre. DeAndre said, tonight at the DNC, they will focus on border security. That's interesting. You know, we'll be there for it. We will be there for it. We're going to watch it. We're going to watch it. You know what I'm saying? Now, do you think that they're going to talk about border security, or do you think that they're just going to talk about pathways to citizenship for undocumented people who are already here? That according to them, that's their idea of border security. That's their idea of border security. You know what I'm saying? The situation is further complicated by reports that RFK was exploring potential roles with a Harris administration just last week. Despite this development on Polymarket, other prediction platforms and polls still show Harris in the lead. On Predicted, Harris maintains an advantage, and globally odds have shortened for Trump, though Harris remains slightly ahead, according to Odds Checker. Okay, so I'm gonna actually check some of these out. The divergence between Polymarket and other markets highlights the unique forces within the crypto native platforms where Trump's pro-crypto stance may resonate more with investors. All right, so as you guys can see, Trump is definitely winning that race as being looked at as the pro-crypto president. You know what I'm saying? So Trump is definitely winning that race as being looked at as the pro-crypto president. Trump's odds on Polymarket have fluctuated from 72% to 47% before reaching the current 52%. This increase coincided with Harris's odds dropping from 54% to 49%. A lack of mention of either Bitcoin or crypto at the Democrat policy launched during the DNC could be a factor in Polymarket swings. How many people noticed that? There's actually an article, shout out to DC Precise, he put it in the Discord, about the fact that crypto wasn't really mentioned or concentrated on at the DNC. Why do you guys think that was? Overall, while Trump's lead on Polymarket marks a significant development, the broader prediction market landscape still marginally favors Harris, stressing the multifaceted nature of political forecasting in the context of a 2024 U.S. presidential election. Okay. So on Polymarket, things done changed. You know what I'm saying? On Polymarket, things done changed. So now what we're going to do is we are going to go into the Harris housing hustle, okay? The Triple H. I'm going to make this really big so that everybody can see it, okay? The Harris housing hustle. This is the platform of Kamala Harris and Tim Walz's proposals to improve the economy. Okay? So we're going to take a look at this and see what they're talking about here. Right here is the housing part. Build the American dream, lowering the cost of renting and owning a home. Okay? I got to agree. Shout out to my man Aristopat. Aristopat said, I said this before. Americans must this time vote with their brains and not with their hearts. If you guys agree with my man Aristopat, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down. And shout out to Aristopat, man. If y'all don't check out his channel, y'all should, man. He do some good vlog videos. You know what I'm saying? If one of the mods could put the link to his channel in the chat and y'all can go check him out, that'd be great. You know what I'm saying? Show my man some love. Vice President Harris knows that our nation's housing affordability crisis is making it hard for tens of millions of Americans to make ends meet while putting the American dream of homeownership out of reach for too many working families. That's why she will launch an urgent and comprehensive 4-year plan to lower housing costs for working families and end America's housing shortage. Okay. Here's the pathway. Calling for the construction of 3 million new housing units to end the housing supply shortage in the next 4 years. That's a serious housing shortage. There's a serious housing shortage across America, and it's driving prices up. Vice President Harris will work in partnership with industry to build the housing we need, both to rent and to buy, and to take down barriers that stand in the way of building new housing, including at the state and local levels. This will make rent and mortgages cheaper. All right. Now, next question, of course, is how so? Right? The next question is how so? Shout out to DJ Elmo. That's a great point. DJ Elmo says, no crypto talk. Why answer? Because biggest donors are NanoHat members who run the fiat system. Facts. If you guys agree with DJ Elmo, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down. That's facts. Spot on. You know what I'm saying? Spot on. Okay. So now here it says first ever tax incentive for building starter homes. A Harris-Walz administration will propose the first ever tax incentive for home buyers who build starter homes sold to first-time home buyers, alleviating the shortage of houses on the market for aspiring home buyers. This would complement the neighborhood homes tax credit that encourages investment in homes that would otherwise be too costly or difficult to develop or rehabilitate. A historic expansion of the existing incentive for businesses that build rental housing that is affordable. What do you guys think about any of this so far? A new federal fund to spur innovative housing construction. Now, this is interesting because this is a multi-pronged question that we got to ask. Who's going to be getting this money? Shout out to Retro Game Gemini. What's good with it, bro? We hope you get better, bro. You know what I'm saying? Take care of yourself. Now, let me ask you guys this. If this sounds feasible, give me a thumbs up. If this doesn't sound feasible, give me a thumbs down. This doesn't sound feasible. This doesn't sound believable. You know what I'm saying? A new federal fund to spur innovative housing construction. A Harris-Walz administration will propose a new $40 billion innovative fund, doubling down on the $20 billion Biden-Harris administration proposed innovation fund. So now, again, we got our question answered. Is this Biden 2.0, right? And now the question is, where is this? Who's going to get the majority of this $40 billion? If we look at this question racially, who's going to racially have first access to this $40 billion? That's the question. Like that proposal, it would empower local governments to fund local solutions to build housing. It would also go further to support innovative methods of construction financing and empower developers and home builders to design and build rental and housing solutions that are affordable, with one condition: they must show they will deliver results. This fund will support the expansion of innovative local efforts like those in Wake County, North Carolina, where they are using American Rescue Plan funds to build or preserve 2,400 affordable housing units, including a 100-unit development coming online at Kings Ridge and a 176-unit affordable housing development at Tyron Station. All right. So here's my question. Is there anybody in the comment section that knows anything about these developments here? If you guys know anything about those developments there, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't, then give me a thumbs down. Shout out to my man, Miles Matthews. I definitely appreciate you, bro. Make sure y'all show Miles some love. Throw some flames, some radiation emoji, and some ducks in the chat for Miles Matthews funding the organization.
How do you think that we fund this organization, huh? We're not exactly the marching dimes.
Cash rules everything around me. Queen, get the money. Dollar bill, yo.
Definitely appreciate it, bro. And shout out to Shun C. Good to see you. The March of Dollars, right. So we need to check into this and see exactly what went into this situation over here in Wake County. All right. This fund will support the expansion of innovative local efforts like those in Wake County, North Carolina. Remember, this is a place where Kamala Harris said that she was going to try to lean into black votes. And again, here's another place where they're doubling down on the Biden-Harris administration, using American Rescue Plan funds to build or preserve 2,400 affordable housing units, including a 100-unit development coming online at Kings Ridge and a 176-unit affordable housing development at Tyron Station. Okay. Vice President Harris will also take action to make, look at this, Vice President Harris will also take action to make certain federal lands eligible to be repurposed for new housing developments that families can afford. Federal lands. Federal lands, guys. What do you guys think about that? Very interesting. So the interesting thing that people should see about this stuff is that when it comes to this stuff, they can do what they want to do with this stuff. There's no study. You know what I'm saying? There's no ridiculous amount of permissions being asked. You know what I mean? It just is what it is, right? Cut red tape and needles bureaucracy. These plans will build on, look at this, these plans will build on the Biden-Harris administration's efforts to cut red tape and enable more home building to bring down housing costs, which have advanced record levels of new home construction. Pushing this forward also means streamlining permitting processes and reviews, including for transit-oriented and conversion developments, so builders can get homes on the market sooner and bring down costs. Is that what's going to happen? What's the guarantee that that's going to happen? Right. Shout out to John. John said, I thought the government had no money or land to give. At least when we ask for reparations, that's what they say. If you guys agree with John, throw some flames in the chat. Cassie says, hell no, don't take my woods. What happened to conservation? I thought they were all about the preservation. DeAndre says, so she's not a president, she a colonizer. Freaky politician see a 69 God. Freaky politician see a 69 God. Freaky politician see a 69 God. That's what DeAndre said. If you're smoking on some weed, you better run for your life. You're smoking on a blunt, you better run for your life. Oh, man. Lowering the rent for hardworking Americans by taking on corporate and major landlords. In addition to ongoing efforts by Vice President Harris and President Biden to expand rental assistance for hard-pressed Americans, including for veterans, boost housing supply for those without homes, enforce fair housing laws, and make sure corporate landlords can't use taxpayer dollars to unfairly rip off renters. Today, she is proposing plans to stop Wall Street investors from buying up and marking up homes in bulk. Now, mind you, she's planning on doing this while having BlackRock executives as her economic counsel. Y'all funny in the comment section, man. Yeah, facts. Shout out to John. Go ahead, ask the government. Ask the government about reparations. Watch them do like this.
I can't eat. I'm broke, nigga. I'm broke.
Watch them do like that. That's exactly what they're going to do. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what they're going to do. That's hilarious. So now here it says, again, we got to go back to this. Stop Wall Street investors from buying up and marking up homes in bulk. Again, she got BlackRock executives on her squad. She got BlackRock executives as part of the squad. How's that going to work? That's literally what they do. That's what they do. So now here it says community after community feels taken advantage of by Wall Street investors and distant landlords. Vice President Harris is calling on Congress to pass the Stop Predatory Investing Act to curtail these practices by removing key benefits for major investors who acquire large numbers of single-family rental homes. All right. And again, this is literally what BlackRock does. Stop rent-setting data firms from price fixing to raise rents by double digits. Corporate landlords are using private equity-backed price-setting tools to collude with each other and jack up rents dramatically in communities across the country. Vice President Harris is calling on Congress to pass the Preventing the Algorithmic Facilitation of Rental Housing Cartels Act to crack down on these companies that contribute to surging prices. Okay? So again, you know, I'd have to look a little bit more into this because I don't want to make any speculations about it because I'm not very familiar with this area of content. But what it sounds to me like is more attempted price control. If you guys would agree, this sounds like more attempted price control. Give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't think that this is more attempted price control, then give me a thumbs down. That's exactly what it sounds like to me. Providing historic $25,000 down payment for first-time home buyers. Now, we looked at this before, right? And remember, according to that study, it said that the temporary impact of this would be $1.7 trillion to the national deficit. Permanent impact of this, if I'm not mistaken, would be $2.1 trillion. That's a lot of money to add to the national deficit. You know what I'm saying? Many Americans work hard at their jobs, save and pay their rent on time, month after month, but they can't save enough after paying their rent and other bills to save for a down payment, denying them a shot at owning a home and building wealth. As the Harris-Walz plan starts to expand the supply of entry-level homes, They will, during their first term, provide working families who have paid their rent on time for 2 years and are buying their first home up to $25,000 in down payment assistance, with more generous support for first-generation homeowners. First-generation homeowners. A first-generation homeowner is very different than a first-time homeowner. Would you guys agree? If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. Shout out to Bettersworth. Betterworth said, run for president when you need a few dollars. No, you're not a candidate. You're a colonizer. Right. Exactly. Run for president when you need a few dollars. You're not a candidate. You're a colonizer. And she's a 69 God. You know what I'm saying? You're a 69 God. Just ask Willie Brown. 69 God. Just ask Willie Brown. 69 God. Just ask Willie Brown.
How do you think that we fund this organization, huh? We're not exactly the March of Dimes.
Get the money, y'all. There's poor people around.
I'm rich, biatch.
Cash rules everything around me. Green, get the money. Dollar bill, yo.
Ask Joe Brown. Joe Brown said, I know that scallywag Kamala Harris from California. And word on the street, from what I've been told, is that the folks out there worship her because she is known as a 69 goddess. She is known as a 69 goddess. You can ask the mayor, Willie Brown, who has experience in that area of expertise. You know what I'm saying? Over there in California, they just got a bunch of unadulterated niggotry going on, and Kamala Harris is at the helms of it. Oh, man. Shout out to DeAndre. DeAndre said, Rob, you hear Kamala has a plan to tax something called unrealized gains. Listen, if she tries to, I know all about unrealized gains. That's not going to help her win the election. I'll tell you that. She's going to lose every crypto investor if she tries that. Shout out to Jesse. What's good with it, bro? Oh, man. Judge Joe Brown is the Black Yosemite Sam. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man, that's the Black Yosemite Sam, man. Judge Joe Brown is the only black dude that could drink a beer with the KKK and act himself and would be fine. He's a very interesting dude. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, the Biden-Harris administration initially proposed providing $25,000 in down payment assistance only for 400,000 first-generation home buyers. First-generation home buyers, or home buyers whose parents don't own a home. So if your parents own a home, guess what? You're automatically out. How many people knew that? If you guys knew that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys did not know that, give me a thumbs down. So now here's my question. Who does this help? How does this help? Why are there people going around beating their chest, and it has gynecomastia, so they hit themselves pretty hard, saying that this is going to help black people? Like, make it make sense. Let me ask you guys this question. Who would be the majority of people that this would help? Oh, if you guys agree with Cassie, throw some flames in the chat. Yeah, shout out to Shun C. If you guys agree with Shun C, throw some flames in the chat. This was a nice little cover job, a nice little rapping, nice little illusion, a nice little mirage, wasn't it? Providing historic $25,000 down payment support for first-time home owners. Now, they call it first-time homeowners here, right? And then they go and talk about the 400,000 slots for first-generation buyers. Many Americans work hard at their jobs, save and pay their rent on time, month after month, but they can't save enough after paying their rent and other bills to save for a down payment, denying them a shot at owning a home and building wealth. As the Harris-Walz plan starts to expand the supply of entry-level homes, they will, during their first term, provide working families who have paid rent on time for 2 years and are buying their first home up to $25,000 in down payment assistance with more generous support for first-generation homeowners. All right, so the first-generation homeowners get the more generous support. Now, here goes another question that I got for you guys. Like, everybody don't pay their rent on, like, paying your rent on time is a stipulation for this? That's nonsense. That's nonsense. Yeah, shout out to Jesse. Jesse says, setting the buffer class up for generations. Facts. If you guys agree with Jesse, give me some thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down. I agree. Shout out to Shun C. She says, this is terrible. I agree. How many people remember the video that I did on BLR2 where we discussed Tim Walz's stance on immigration? Now, do you guys see how this all ties in? Of course they would. Of course. Like, it's so obvious. Of course they would support something like this. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to y'all. Throw them hundreds in the chat. We got the 1-to-1 ratio popping off. We got 31 people watching and we got 31 likes. If everybody could take a moment, smash that like button and get us to 60, that would be great. But we got the 1-to-1 popping off. That's what's good. Definitely appreciate y'all. Shout out to Al McCowan. What's good with you, bro? And shout out to Dwayne. I think I saw, Dwayne. What's good with you, bro? All right, so now here it says Vice President Harris's plan will simplify and significantly expand that plan by providing on average $25,000 for all eligible first-time home buyers while ensuring full participation by first-generation home buyers. So I want you guys to pay attention. Who gets prioritized here? First-generation home buyers or first-time home buyers? Who gets prioritized here? First-generation home buyers or first-time home buyers? Vice President Harris's plan will simplify and significantly expand that plan by providing on average $25,000 for all eligible first-time home buyers while ensuring full participation by first-generation home buyers. It ensures participation, full participation of first-time home buyers. It will expand the reach of down payment assistance, allowing over 4 million first-time buyers over 4 years to get significant down payment assistance. Okay. So then they just got a little bit of, you know what I'm saying? They got some back and forth crap talk here between, whoever wrote this, and they trying to get at Trump with a little bit of wolf tickets down there. But this is it. That's it. That's the housing plan. How many people about to hop up off the couch right now? Y'all ready to get up off the couch? Let's go. Like Stephen A. said, let's go. Y'all ready? Y'all ready to get up off the couch like Stephen A. said? Let's go. You know what I'm saying? So let's take a look at this here. Let's take a look at this here. Starter home tax breaks, aid for first-time buyers. What to know about Harris's affordable housing proposal. Okay, so we know a little bit. We know a little bit, right? Because we just read a little bit, so we know a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I'll tell you what this is gonna do. What this is gonna do is this is gonna increase the national debt, and it's gonna cause prices to go higher. Here's the key points. Vice President Kamala Harris called for the construction of 3 million new housing units, both for rent and for sale, over the next 4 years. What this means is that whoever gets the contracts to build anything inside of this 3 million, this is guaranteed them money. This is locked in money. So now we got to ask the question about the locked in money. Who's going to have access to this locked in money? Let's start there. Who's going to be able to build wealth off of this proposal? You already know, bro. All I got to say, shout out to DeAndre, bro. The algorithm Bendham locked me in. Y'all see, I'm perpetually, they keep squeezing down the amount of people that I get into my live streams. Last week I was perpetually stuck at 50. I'm perpetually stuck at 30 this week, and this is my bigger channel. You know what I'm saying? Now, mind you, though, you notice they don't put any embedded messages in my videos, which means that it's not misinformation. Right? So it's like, what's the deal? You know what I'm saying? What's the deal? But YouTube knows what it is. You know what I'm saying? YouTube knows that people don't really care about the integrity of the information. They really only care about like live chat number and stuff like that. So, you know, if you have less than a 3-digit live chat number on YouTube, you're already going to get passed over. You know what I'm saying? You might get looked at if you got over 50, but I can't even keep over 50 people in a stream. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy because there's people that have over 100 people watching their streams and they can't make $50 in a stream, but I can have 20 people in a stream and make $200 in a stream. So somebody like, so again, this is just YouTube actively working against the channel. You can literally see it. You know what I'm saying? If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. It's ridiculous. It's truly insane. But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? We're going to work through it anyway. So now here it says other proposals include tax incentives to build more homes and down payment assistance for first-time buyers. Okay. So my question is, how many people do you all know who will be able to benefit from this? Facts. Shout out to Brooklyn Queen. Brooklyn Queen said, maybe we should put twerking shorts before all of your videos. We should. That'll work. That'll get people in here. With Amanda Sales, too. They get some dust in their eye. You know what I'm saying? Be coughing like somebody busted a bag of flour or some baby powder over their head, looking like when right before LeBron James about to play basketball. Who gonna be able to benefit from this? Where is somebody at that can show me how this benefits people, how this helps? How does this help? Who is this for? We know who it's for. The voter base that doesn't vote. Affordable housing is a cornerstone of the quote-unquote opportunity economy that Vice President Kamala Harris sketched out last week. Harris's economic policy pitch included proposals to lower the cost of owning and renting homes in the United States. We should be making everything to make it more affordable to buy a home, not less, Harris said during her speech in Raleigh, North Carolina. The Democratic presidential nominee called for the construction of 3 million new housing units, both for rent and for sale, over the next 4 years. An initiative housing experts would say would help improve affordability. That's the most exciting part of her plan to me, said Daryl Fairweather, chief economist at Redfin, an online real estate brokerage. Supply housing policy bipartisan sweet spot. The bipartisan sweet spot around the housing affordability challenges that we have today is on increasing supply. So again, I want you guys to pay very close attention to this. This is one of the issues that I have with it. This is a supply-based strategy. It should be counterbalanced with the demand as well. Right. Shout out to John. This is a great question. You guys can let me know what you all think about it in the comment section. John says, question, if this was such a great plan, Why was it not implemented in the current administration she is a part of? Facts. Let me know what you guys think. Okay. Oh, yeah. And shout out to y'all, man. Y'all should join the Patreon. I didn't mean to do that, but since it's up there, go ahead and hit that Patreon link. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says, ever since the foreclosure crisis, a major period of property seizures in the U.S. between 2007 and 2010, there have been far fewer new single-family homes and multifamily rental buildings under construction, said Jenicky Ratcliffe, vice president of the Housing Finance Policy Center at the Urban Institute, a nonprofit think tank in Washington, D.C. There's a more acute shortfall when it comes to affordable homes, she said, whether for renters looking for quality rental units or for first-time home buyers. All right, so let's take a listen to this video. Let's see. Let's take a listen to this. We got to wait a whole 30 seconds. Lord have mercy. If you guys haven't smashed the like button yet, do me a favor. Take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys haven't hit the bell, take a moment, hit that bell. And also, please share the stream to your social media. All right. Also, if you're not subscribed to my backup channels, take a moment, subscribe to the backup channels. Hit the Rumble channel if you're not subscribed. If you got Twitch, make sure that you hit Twitch. All right. And join the Discord.
Have been thinking that home prices will ease in the second half of the year, but so far it hasn't been the case, even as the supply of homes on the market finally increases. Diana Olick joins us to explain why. Diana, good morning.
Well, good morning, Joe. Yeah, we're in a housing market now unlike any other, and that's due to economic forces unlike any other. The foreclosure crisis, the Great Recession, the pandemic, and the unprecedented quick cut and then quick spike in mortgage rates. So take a look at supply of both newly built and existing homes together for sale. It shot up during the 2005 housing boom and the ensuing foreclosure crisis, which of course flooded the market with homes. So home building essentially ground to a halt. By 2012, new homes were just 6% of all supply. Then total supply dropped even more in the pandemic when demand spiked in those first 2 years. Now it's finally climbing back slowly, but in a weird kind of twist, it's mostly newly built homes. The month's supply of new homes for sale is now almost 3 times that of existing homes. Month supply is how long it would take to sell that supply at the current sales pace. Now, new and old home month supply usually track pretty closely, but not so much now. Now, new construction, it's making up 30% of total inventory. And this, of course, is due to roller coaster mortgage rates dropping to historic lows at the start of the pandemic and then spiking to 20-year highs just 2 years later.
So now, this shows that the mortgage rate fluctuation is undeniably a part of what's causing issues and volatility with the housing prices and affordability. Would you guys agree? If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that to say this. That would tell you that the entire problem is not 100% based on supply, right? You know what I'm saying? And they're reiterating that here. I'm gonna run this back because I think this is really good information. Make sure you guys take note of this. Shout out to Miss Nisi. Good to see you, Miss Nisi. This is important. This is extremely important. I can't stress this enough.
Mortgage rates. So take a look at supply.
Let's go back to where she starts talking about
the and that's due to economic forces unlike any other. The foreclosure crisis, the Great Recession, the pandemic, and the unprecedented quick cut and then quick spike in mortgage rates. So take a look at supply of both newly built and existing homes together for sale. It shot up during the 2005 housing boom and the ensuing foreclosure crisis, which of course flooded the market with homes. So home building essentially ground to a halt. By 2012, new homes were just 6% of all supply. Then total supply dropped even more in the pandemic when demand spiked in those first 2 years. Now it's finally climbing back slowly, but in a weird kind of twist, it's mostly newly built homes. The month supply of new homes for sale is now almost 3 times that of existing homes. Month supply is how long it would take to sell that supply at the current sales pace. Now, new and old home month supply usually track pretty closely, but not so much now. Now, new construction, it's making up 30% of total inventory. And this, of course, is due to roller coaster mortgage rates dropping to historic lows at the start of the pandemic and then spiking to 20-year highs just 2 years later.
Okay, so now let me ask you guys this. What do you all okay, so if the prices were low at the beginning of the pandemic, what was going on at the beginning? Were people taking advantage of those low rates? And then when they spiked to historic highs after the pandemic, are people going to have difficulty paying? So what you have is basically a price shock. Price volatility. Again, is price volatility indicative solely on supply issues? Got to answer that question. If the answer to that question is no, then we got to ask, how effective will this proposal be in dealing with what they claim they want to deal with?
That makes homeowners who wanted to move up instead stay put, cutting existing supply further, and it makes buyers look for cheaper homes. So you can see that in the month supply of homes for sale in May by price tier. It is the lowest in the $100,000 to $500,000 price range because that's where most demand now lives. And that is despite the fact that supply has increased the most in those lower tiers. The homes are just getting eaten up that fast. And that just
so if this look, so again, I want you guys to pay attention. You guys see the supply is increasing. The supply is increasing. And shout out to DJ Elmo. DJ Elmo says, the news lady said foreclosure crisis. That's a polite way of describing the 2008 wealth transfer and heist. Lots of FBA lost their homes, will never be able to get their property back. And as a result of losing their homes and already owning one, you're not going to be able to take advantage of this Kamala Harris legislation because this legislation is only for first-time home buyers and first-generation home buyers. So if you did fall victim to these things, you not only fell victim to these things, but as a result of falling victim to these things, you've also been locked out of new things that are coming.
is why prices just keep going up.
So what does that, which home builders would we buy then? We should buy the ones that can make houses between $100,000 and $500,000. You don't want to buy the luxury or premium house builders then.
Well, the home builders who do have that entry-level supply are doing the most in sales right now. We do see strength in Toll Brothers, which is the luxury home builder, but that's only because they're not really reliant on those mortgage-dependent buyers. But home builders like KB Home, DR Horton, who have that express brand, that real entry-level brand, they're still seeing a lot of demand. But we should also note that the home builders don't necessarily have to worry about that 9-month supply we're talking about. People think, oh my God, are the home builders in a glut of homes? And that's because just 20% of that supply has actually been built yet. That's how they measure that supply. It can be houses that have been permitted, it can be houses under construction, or houses that are finished. So the home builders have a lot of control over what they finish, when, and what they even start, depending on that supply situation. But once again, probably that entry-level builder is going to be the best bet.
So if interest rates were to come down, are there a lot of people that want to sell their existing homes if they get the chance, or not?
I certainly think there's a lot of pent-up seller demand. There are, aging baby boomers in big homes who would like to downsize, but they're thinking, why do I want to get rid of my 3% rate and trade up to a 7% rate, especially when the market is this pricey? But they're also lured by the fact that, hey, the market's pricey and I can sell my home for a lot. So if rates come back into that 6% range, that's where we saw last fall and into the winter that people did.
Now, these rates are contingent on what? That's the $1 million question. These rates, these mortgage rates, all of this stuff that they're talking about right now, this stuff is contingent on what? This is contingent on what the Fed does, right? If you guys would agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys would disagree, give me a thumbs down. This is contingent on what the Fed does. Dumping all of this money into the economy without actually being able to pinpoint that this stuff might not work, to me, it's not really a hill that, you know what I'm saying, people should want to die or lie on. You know what I'm saying?
Start to move. Sellers started to say, okay, I'm going to go, because that 6% range is a little less, shall we say, unsavory than the 7% range.
Resemble that remark. Aging baby boomers. I might sue you for definition.
We're all aging, Joe. Even babies are aging. Okay.
Definition of character.
Man, that guy's like depressed. He didn't want to get out of bed and go to work today. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says, to get to those 3 million new units, a Harris-Walz administration would introduce a first-ever tax incentive for home builders who sell starter homes to first-time buyers, according to the proposals unveiled last week. The initiative could complement the neighborhood homes tax credit, according to the announcement, which would be created by a bill pending in Congress called the Neighborhood Homes Investment Act. All right. So now, how many people are familiar with this quote unquote Neighborhood Home Investment Act? I'm not familiar with this. Okay. But what's interesting about it, it's interesting how these people always have all this ready-made policy. All right. So here's the Neighborhood Investment Act. It may be something we got to look at. We'll wait and see. You know what I'm saying? We'll definitely wait and see. I'm going to throw it in the Discord too. Now, isn't it interesting how they always have all this? They always had this stuff already made. And then all they got to do is just expand or add a sentence here or take a sentence away there, and boom. I got a proposal for you. I got something for you. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says, Shea said the tax credit, which has strong bipartisan support, would promote the creation and rehabilitation of starter homes for sale in distressed communities. All right. My conclusion is that Harris's housing plan would be worse than doing nothing. What does that mean? Now, again, as you guys can see, what media outlet am I reading this article from? Shout out to AW1. We now know what not to call that old guy because it might hurt his feelings, right? Right. NBC. Shout out to Michael R. So now here it says former President Donald Trump has also talked about ways to increase housing supply as part of his presidential campaign proposals. We're going to open up tracts of federal land for housing construction, Trump said in an August 15th press conference. We desperately need housing for people who can't afford what's going on right now. So again, in addition to the tips, right? This is something else that the Harris Biden administration has taken directly from Trump. The federal lands part. Remember when we talked about Agenda 47, that was part of the Agenda 47. It was like the new homestead or something like that they were calling it. Okay. So now here it says, but Edward Pinto, senior fellow and co-director of the American Enterprise Institute's Housing Center, said it's much harder for the government to pass supply-side proposals compared with efforts that generate demand by making home buying easier for consumers. My conclusion is that Harris' housing plan would be worse than doing nothing, he said. So that's not a good thing. That's pretty bad. Okay. So now here it says, my conclusion is that Harris's housing plan would be worse than doing nothing. So what that basically means is that if we just let the situation stay the way that it is, then, you know, it would be okay. Doing this is actually going to cause more problems. Now, here's my question. From what we've talked about, do you all agree with that assessment? If you guys agree with that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree with that, then give me a thumbs down. I think that this could really cause some pricing problems. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that this is really going to have the desired effect like what people think. You know what I'm saying? I don't. What do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think in the chat. It will be important for Harris to clarify what she means by starter home, said James Tobin, CEO of the National Association of Home Builders. So again, what we have here is more Harris policy where things are not defined. Why is it that you think that this administration has such an issue with defining their terms? See, if you ask me, that's a red flag. The terms need to be defined very clearly. They need to be defined very clearly. It's not asking much. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to define what a starter home is, said Tobin, as underlying costs make it hard to keep building expense low. In most markets in the country, it's hard to build to that first-time home buyer because of labor costs, land costs, borrowing costs for a builder, and then material costs, he said. All right, so we're going to take a look at this right here. Harris' economic plan will try to tell story of combating inflation criticism. All right, let's see. And again, I think that this particular video right here is not only going to deal with the housing proposals, it's going to deal with some of the wider spanning issues that we talked about earlier, like with the price gouging and all that.
President Kamala Harris set to unveil her economic plan at a speech in Raleigh, North Carolina next hour. She's expected to announce policies that aim to lower the cost of groceries and prescription drugs, expand affordable housing, and cut taxes for the middle class. Joining me now for more is AEI economic policy analyst and CNBC contributor James Pethokoukis. It's great to have you here. We've gotten some broad brush outlines of what she might say. What jumps out to you the most?
Well, I think the way I look at this is not so much Harris laying out an agenda, but telling a story. And I think when you look at the policies, the story that will end up being told through those policies is that inflation is not the fault of the Biden-Harris administration.
Spot on. Spot on. If you guys agree with what he just said, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. That right there is how you get into the nonsensical nature of these policies, because these policies are not meant to address anything because they can't address anything. These policies are actually camouflaged pseudo-campaigning. If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. Shout out to Vega. What's good with it, Vega? And also, shout out to everybody watching. I really appreciate you guys. If you all haven't smashed the like button yet, please take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys haven't hit the bell, please take a moment, hit the bell. Drop them 100s in the chat. Y'all are killing it. We got the 1-to-1 ratio popping off. We got 44 people watching and 43 likes. If everybody can bang on that like button and get us to 80, that would be wonderful. We getting into that 100 range. That's what's good.
Welcome back. Vice President Kamala Harris set to unveil her economic plan at a speech in Raleigh, North Carolina next hour. She's expected to announce policies that aim to lower the cost of groceries and prescription drugs, expand affordable housing, and cut taxes for the middle class. Joining me now for more is AEI economic policy analyst and CNBC contributor James Pethokoukis. It's great to have you here. We've gotten some broad brush outlines of what she might say. What jumps out to you the most?
Well, I think the way I look at this is not so much Harris laying out an agenda, but telling a story. And I think when you look at the policies, the story that will end up being told through those policies is that inflation is not the fault of the Biden-Harris administration. It is the fault of these companies, corporate greed, and going forward, I have all kinds of ideas that will tackle inflation. I think that is primarily the story they will tell, because it's clear that that is perhaps the biggest weakness of this campaign is their inflation record and the inflation record of the Biden-Harris administration.
what I find interesting as well is I think a lot of the critics who want to say, no, it's the Biden. A lot of the public doesn't want people to go back in time, and to some extent doesn't. I would say they obviously care how we got here, but what they really care about is what's it literally going to look like in 4 or 6 months' time for the cost of everyday life. What is the story that the Trump administration is going to tell about that? Again, we could debate these policies on their merits, but this is really about competing stories.
It is about a competing story. I think you're right that the Trump team is going to tell a story about what went wrong, that the reason prices are up by 20% is purely because of the policy choices made by the Biden administration. But so sort of what is the sort of forward-looking agenda?
So you guys see the breaking news barrier, right? That just came up here. Breaking: RFK plans to end his presidential campaign, leaving Trump, Harris in fight to the finish. So we definitely about to slide that over there and make a little video on that. But y'all seen it. RFK plans to end his presidential campaign, leaving Trump and Harris in a fight to the finish. Now, let me ask you guys this question. How many people think that RFK is going to endorse Trump? If you guys think that RFK is going to endorse Trump, give me a thumbs down. If you think that he's not, if you think that RFK is going to endorse Trump, give me a thumbs up. If you think that he's not, then give me a thumbs down.
What are they going to say that will tell the American people life will be better in 6 months, in a year? They're not going to say, well, listen, trust the Powell Fed. They're working on it. They're getting inflation down. We're going to have a soft landing. Like, that's not a story any politician can tell. So I'm still slightly unclear about what that Trump story is. Is it a story that about tariffs? Is it a story about taxes? I think it's, to some degree, it's a little bit nebulous.
I've seen deregulation, perhaps. And while I think people intuitively understand that seems disinflationary on some level, I wonder if that's kind of the vein to take. I also wonder, Jimmy, if there's some of Harris's policies, I believe, like some of the profit capping or whatever she's going to say, I can't imagine that's something that Trump would seize on, although you never know. And much like she seized on his no taxes on tips agenda, could he take something like incentivizing single family home construction and say, yeah, we'll do that too?
Yeah. Listen, rather than having these campaigns agree on no taxes on tipping or something, I would love if they agreed on massive permitting reform, doing what they can to encourage zoning reform. I think those would be fantastic ideas if they combined on. So far, some of the other agreement has been on policies not so great. The tipping. There wasn't a lot of difference between the Biden trade policy, really, and the Trump trade policy.
Agreed.
That's something.
So again, there's not, and this is what I've been saying this as well. There's not really a lot of differences between a lot of this stuff out here. There's not even a lot of differences between a lot of this stuff out here. So then when you take that into consideration and you say, well, there's not even a lot of differences going on between a lot of this stuff out here, then when you think about how people are crashing out over criticisms about this stuff, it's like, why are these people crashing out like this? Shout out to AW1. AW1 says, yo, Rob, do you think RFK will endorse Trump? I think there's a high probability that he might endorse Trump. I don't think that he's very happy with how the Democrats kind of blocked him out. You know what I'm saying? I think that there's a high probability that he'll endorse Trump.
Harris might continue. So that kind of agreement, I'm less enthusiastic about.
The two things that you said you'd be excited about were permitting reform and zoning reform. And I wonder if that's literally one of each, where you could see a Republican administration and a Trump talking a lot about permitting reform, but I can't imagine a Democrat doing so. And on zoning reform, I can imagine a Democratic candidate getting up there and talking a lot about that. And obviously Walz is the vice presidential candidate, but I can't imagine a Republican administration necessarily doing so.
No, I think it's particularly on this issue of permitting.
Shout out to DJ Elmo. That's a great question. DJ Elmo says, Blacklight, do you think the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones and dollar will dip if Harris wins? I do think that, and I'm going to show you guys why in a later live stream. Maybe I don't know when it might be, but I'm definitely going to show you guys why I think that might occur. Now I want to ask you guys, how do you guys feel about that? Do you all think that the stock markets will decrease and the dollar value will dip if Harris wins? If you guys do, let me know in the comment section.
Really, and that involves it certainly involves state and local level, but also national policies. You have a lot of environmental rules, make it very hard to build in this country. But I can really see both sides eventually agreeing on that. Republicans, they always obviously have a soft spot for deregulation, but there is no way we're going to get any of this sort of clean energy transformation if you cannot build transmission lines, if you cannot build new power plants, if you cannot build nuclear reactors. So there should be inherently an impulse. It's going to be tough during the election season, but once we get out of the election season, an impulse for both sides to embrace those kinds of sort of pro-growth, pro-build policies.
All right. And that gives me some area maybe to look for amidst all of the noise we're going to hear in the coming weeks on the inflationary front in particular. Jimmy, for now, thanks. Appreciate it.
All right. So there's that. All right. So what's interesting, though, we really haven't heard very much about any of that, though. And one of the reasons is because, like they're not, the candidates aren't really saying too much. You know what I mean? They haven't addressed any of this stuff at the DNC. These are huge, major issues. I mean, honestly, as horrible of a rollout as this was for economic policy, you would think that they would want to address this and try to, at the very least, clean some of this up with all of the platform that they have to be able to do this at the DNC. And for whatever reason, they're not taking advantage of that. Does that make any sense? Like, why would they not take advantage of that? They're not taking advantage of that at all. And that's something that they have available as an option to them to be able to do right now. And they're just not doing it. Doesn't make any sense. Makes absolutely no sense. Michael's got a good point. Shout out to Michael. Michael says it will dip whoever wins. The oligarchs are only propping up the economy to get Kamala elected. That's a good point. That's a good point. Shout out to John. John says, yes, it will, because it really feels like more of the same since she is already in office and the market is based on the psychology of the people in the market. Facts. Super facts. Great point. Great point. So now here it says defining a range of price points for a starter home will also be important as it may vary widely across different markets, said Tobin. In California, a starter home might cost $700,000 or $800,000, but in the South, it might only be $250,000 or $300,000, he said, which even that's, man, I'm listening to these prices. I'm like, man, they sound crazy. The $40 billion innovation fund seems very high. Yeah, it does. That's a lot. Shout out to Carlton. If y'all agree with Carlton, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down. Carlton says, seems like the DNC focuses on reproductive rights, Trump, and black music. Facts. DeAndre said, a post on X is going around on Trump references versus policy references, and the numbers are staggering. Yeah. I agree. We've been calling that out ever since we've been watching it. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says the list of Harris's proposals also includes a $40 billion innovation fund. The money would empower local governments to fund and support local solutions to build housing. Now, again, what race are the owners of the businesses who will be able to directly get this $40 billion from the government? Are there any Black American businesses that will be able to benefit directly from that, from the government? If not, this is just something else that we're locked out of. And then somebody will say we need to work harder than other people. Yet some experts are skeptical it will fulfill the intended goal. The federal government doesn't have a whole lot of authority over what happens at the local level, said Redfin's Fairweather. It's up to local planning commissions whether they're going to allow for more housing in order to get that innovation fund money. Okay. But time and time again, locals and local governments, local homeowners ignore incentives because they're so resistant to build more housing, Fairweather said. Additionally, the $40 billion Housing Innovation Fund may be too expensive, making it unlikely to get bipartisan support, Shea said. The price tag there seems very high, he said. I don't know if the market could bear that price tag in Congress. Okay. Aid for first-time home buyers has less support. Harris proposes to provide $25,000 down payment assistance to first-time home buyers who have paid rent on time for 2 years, with more generous support for qualifying first-generation homeowners. So again, there's a prioritization on the first-generation homeowners. Okay. The first-generation homeowners get more prioritization. The proposal stems from an idea the Biden-Harris administration presented earlier this year, which called on Congress to implement $25,000 in down payment assistance exclusively for 400,000 first-generation buyers or first-time buyers whose parents weren't homeowners, and a $10,000 tax credit for first-time buyers. Now, how many of you all knew about this Biden-era policy right here? This was something that they tried to implement this at the beginning of the year, but it didn't happen. So again, when it comes to all of these things, we got to go back to all of the titles of the past streams, right? Because the titles are important. Will a Kamala Harris presidency be Biden 2.0? If they're literally pulling things from the same playbook, using the same roadmap, and just changing the numbers, yeah, it looks like it's just going to be Biden 2.0. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says Harris's blueprint would apply to all first-time buyers and broaden the reach to more than 4 million qualifying applicants over 4 years. But there's just not a lot of bipartisan support, Shea said. During an August 16th appearance on Fox Business, Senator Tim Scott said Harris's $25,000 down payment will only make demand higher with the supply not moving, which means that prices will go up. Fewer people are going to be able to afford it. And frankly, unless they're going to embed financial literacy in any program, it only means there will be a high level of default, said Scott. And I don't disagree with Tiny Tooth Tim on this. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Triple T. To help renters, Harris addressed 2 pending pieces of legislation. She called on Congress to pass the Stop Predatory Investing Act, a bill which calls for removing key tax benefits for those who own 50 or more single-family properties. This initiative would curtail major investors from buying up large sums of single-family rental homes. Meanwhile, the Preventing the Algorithmic Facilitation of Rental Housing Cartels Act would crack down on companies who use algorithmic systems to fix market rent prices. Okay? So, again, who is this really going to benefit? You know what I'm saying? Who is this going to benefit? Well, guess what? Guess what? We're going to look at exactly that. DJ Elmo, you think that the starter homes are going to be made out of styrofoam? They're going to be like those modular homes. Look, I will buy a modular home. I will for sure buy a modular home and make it a streaming studio and put it in my backyard. I would straight up do that, or buy one of them trailers. Y'all seen it in the Discord. I straight up buy one of them construction sites trailers and trap that bad boy out. You know what I'm saying? Kamala Harris reveals her plan to fix the housing crisis. Here's who would benefit the most. Shout out to Detroit 313 with the news. RFK is endorsing Trump. Told y'all. Man, that was on the spot. Let's see if we can find something about that real quick. Let me see. Because if that's the case, we're gonna make a little video. He'll make a little video about that. We're gonna make a little video about that. RFK running mate says they're considering endorsing Trump. RFK Jr. Okay, let me see. Says they're considering endorsing Trump. Okay, yeah. Here's an article from NBC News. Bet. Shout out to AB. AB says, I thought he would distance himself from Trump. Nah, man. I'm telling you, nah. 3D printed and built by bots. Please believe I'll give me a 3D printed house, a little box. Trap that bad boy out. Dead serious. Put some Ohio glass blocks on that bad boy, have some pit bulls up in there, and be mining Bitcoin all day. Live streaming when I'm bored. Live streaming when I'm bored. You know what I'm saying? Electronic trapping, straight up. You know what I'm saying? Straight up and down. Look at this. Kamala Harris reveals her plan to fix the housing crisis. Here's who would benefit the most. Younger voters and voters in battleground states in particular consider housing to be a top concern, surveys show. Okay. Sky-high housing costs are a top issue for many Americans in the upcoming presidential election, and Vice President Kamala Harris's newly announced proposal to rein them in may resonate with some key voting blocks. I don't know how effective this will be. I don't think that I don't know where they get this information and these indicators from, but I don't really think it matters all like that. What do y'all think? Yeah, I'm interested to see how many. Yo, Detroit, do you think that Trump will offer RFK a job? If I'm not mistaken, wasn't there a leaked phone call that came out already where they were kind of talking about that? I wouldn't be surprised to see like RFK rocking with Trump. I wouldn't be surprised to see RFK and Tulsi Gabbard rocking with Trump. That would be wild if Trump made Tulsi Gabbard his press secretary. That would be wild. So now here it says housing costs are at a record high, making the prospect of home ownership unattainable for many renters in the U.S. All right. So who stands to benefit the most from Harris's housing plan? Who stands to benefit the most? The key beneficiaries of Harris's housing plan will be millennials and housing developers, economists told MarketWatch. Millennials and housing developers. Housing developers because they're going to get the profits, right? Millennials because they haven't owned a house. So we're going to do a part 2 of this. In a part 2 of this, we're going to go over the MarketWatch article. We're going to go over another criticism of this from the Washington Post. All right. And we're going to, again, continue to ask the question, does this get you off the couch? As of what we know now, where we stand with this now, is this enough to get you off the couch? If it is, give me a thumbs up. If it's not, give me a thumbs down. All right. Shout out to everybody for coming through and checking out the stream. All right. I'm going to actually I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do, if I'm going to put a video together for the RFK stuff or if I'm going to just do a stream because it'll be quicker. All right. So be looking for that. I will see y'all for the RNC tonight, or for the DNC tonight. All right. Don't move a muscle. I want to shout out everybody who contributed to the stream. Shout out to my man, John Guillory. I appreciate it. Shout out to John Guillory again. Shout out to Brooklyn Queen. Shout out to my man, AB Promotions. Shout out to the Geek Surgeon. Shout out to Miles Matthews. And shout out to my man, Betterworth. All right. Make sure that you guys are subscribed to the backup channels. Make sure that you guys are part of the Discord. Hit that link. Make sure you're subbed up on Rumble. All right. Make sure that you got all the bell notifications hit and that you hit the like button. And as always, ladies and gentlemen,
walk up in the life. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him. Hold up. Look, walking this bitch like, hey. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like, hey. I'm really him. Don't believe me? Come and see me. Got 3 wishes from my genie. Now I'm on your local TV. Y'all on tour, got demons. Say she wanna come and see me when I'm in a local city. I'm like, pause though. Please step aside so they can see me. And I walk up in this light. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him, on God. Walk up in this light. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him. I'm the realest from my city. That's on money, that's on Kiwi, that's on mamas. Niggas don't believe me, come and see me. I been dodging all that fake. All these niggas working broke, but I been getting paid. All that know me from the street. Flexing for what feature, that's like every other week. Talk behind my back, I kick my feet up, have a seat. Cause at the end of the day, all these watching me as I walk up in this light. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him, on God. Walk up in this light. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him, on God. Walk up in this light. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him. Hold up. Look, walking this light. Hey. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like, hey, I'm really him. Hold up.